questions, it is Claire here, and today I'm gonna kind of take you guys with me through the process of my Foal Oakley's weaning, and also I'm gonna show you guys him meeting my other horse, Owen, who is now his nanny, as I like to call him. I filmed a bunch of little clips throughout this entire process that I'm going to show you guys while I'm talking you through it, explaining everything I did. Yeah, so I'm just going to kind of show you guys what happened. It had its ups and downs, that's for sure. So Oakley was with his mom till he was about 6 months old, when both him and his mother were kind of showing us signs that they were kind of ready to start being weaned. They started spending less time together, his mom started being a little aggressive towards him, and just stuff like that. So it was time, but when he was still with his mother, I did kind of introduce him to Owen. The first time that they ever sniffed noses, I got it on video, and it was actually pretty cute. Oakley was pretty interested in Owen. Owen was a little bit more interested in the grass below him. But they just sniffed each other, which was really cute. And the mom didn't seem to mind too much, so I let them sniff each other for a little bit, and I let Owen graze next to him and all that good stuff. Sorry about him. He's just sitting here, panting and yawning and panting and yawning. And I hope it's not coming off super loud in the audio, but if it is, I apologize. The other one is right there, sleeping, being quiet and good. But Mr. Dobby here likes to be the center of attention, don't you? So anyways, that went pretty smoothly, but I obviously wasn't going to let them, you know, be together until he was fully weaned for safety purposes. Then we decided to start the weaning process, and I chose to wean him slowly and carefully to minimize the stress on both of them. The first thing we did to start their weaning process was they both lived together in a dry lot, a little dry lot, and the dry lots are in rows. So what we did was a couple hours each day, I would take Oakley into the dry lot next to her, so they could still be together basically, but also still be apart, to kind of just very slowly kind of get them weaned off each other. Both of them could have cared less that he was in a separate dry lot. They took it really well, they didn't really care, so it was perfect. So once they got to the point where they had been doing that for a couple of weeks, then it was time to take the next step, which was put them into stalls next to each other. So they could still hear each other, they could still pretty much smell each other, and they could kind of see each other. But they both knew they were right next to each other, and it went pretty smoothly actually. The mom, Aria, could have cared less. She had food, she did not care that her baby was next to her. Oakley was okay. For about the first couple of minutes, he was walking in circles and he was calling to her. But then after honestly like 10-15 minutes, he started to calm down. He wasn't really doing anything other than walking around in his stall investigating, and it took probably about 30 minutes before he decided to relax and start eating and all of that good stuff. So at that point, we put them both out for a couple hours each day together outside in a grass lot so that he could nurse, because the mom, she started getting a lot of milk built up, and she still needed to be nursed on a couple hours each day until her body stopped producing so much milk. So a couple hours each day, they would get to go outside together and they would come back into their stalls. They were super good about this. I was super proud of them. And after, I think it was probably 2 weeks of that, then it was time to separate them and introduce Owen to Oakley. So at that point, Aria moved to the lower barn and Oakley was up in the upper barn. And they also handled that really well. He, like I said, the first like 5-10 minutes of it happening, he called a little bit, she called a little bit, and then everybody quieted down and stopped caring. So I was really happy with all of that, and then I think he went out a couple of times by himself just to stretch his legs because I didn't want him locked up in his stall, but I also didn't want him out to where he could hurt himself, and he would start to look for her. After about a week of him going out, being turned out for a couple hours each day by himself, he had a little incident. It was super random and out of the blue. We caught a little bit of it on our security camera, and I'll show you guys. Like I said, it wasn't the first time he was out by himself. I would have kind of understood it a little more if it was like the first day or two that he was out in this lot by himself. And it's not like there weren't horses around him. There was another dry lot and a turnout lot surrounding him with other horses, so it's not like he was alone. But I turned him out probably 2 hours before the incident happened. I'll show it to you guys here now. But he was just standing in a shelter being a good little baby, and all of a sudden he felt inclined to start running towards the fence and try and jump it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it maybe looks like he wasn't totally meaning to jump the fence, because he didn't really try with his hind end. He kind of realized halfway through it, I think, that he was like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do this. So he ended up getting stuck in the middle of the fence. So he got his front legs over it, but his back legs were still on the other side. And he could barely touch the ground with his hind legs. Thankfully, I literally saw this right after it had happened. And I was able to go down there, and he was being so good. He was standing still, he wasn't struggling. He had actually got one of his hooves through a slat of the fence, and I had to get that leg out so they could both hang flat down. After that, I was like, okay, maybe I should try and take the fence down, but the fence was like, had been there for so long, it was like buried into the ground. It was not gonna come out without taking forever. So thankfully, another girl at our barn was there, and I called her to come help me. And basically, thank God I have such a good baby horse, because he was being so amazing. He was standing perfectly still, and I was kind of like, maybe we can just grab his back legs and lift him over because he's being so good. We were a little worried about like, oh my gosh, what if he starts kicking and kicks one of us in the face, because we literally had to grab his hooves and lift them up to our face, which I wouldn't recommend. But he was being so good that we were both like, let's try it. So we each grabbed a back leg, and I lifted one of his back legs over, and then once that leg was over, we both went to grab the other leg and lifted that leg over, pushed him over, and he was free. And he just stood, once we freed him, he stood there and he was like, whew, okay, thanks you guys. And he was so good. Thankfully, he only came out of this incident with a little scrape on the inside of one of his back legs. He didn't even swell up or anything, just that little scratch on his leg, which was all just superficial. It was nothing deep that needed stitches or anything. So I was very grateful, because it could have been much worse. So I just cold hosed his legs the next few days and kept up with that wound, and he was totally fine. But I kind of learned my lesson at that point, and I was like, okay, I need to introduce him to Owen. He needs a friend to be out with him. Even though the incident was really random and nothing really caused it, I still didn't feel comfortable putting him out in that lot. So turnout turned into turnout in the arena for like 1 hour while I was in there watching him and keeping him entertained. So at that point, I realized it's time to introduce him to Owen. So I moved a few things around and made it able to where Owen and Oakley could be turned out together. When I first let them actually meet for the first time, like be out together, I turned them out in the little indoor turnout area that we have in our upper barn for when the weather's bad outside. We can turn horses out in there 2 at a time to stretch their legs when the weather's bad and they can't go out in the grass. I put them in there together because it was somewhere where Oakley felt safe, because that's where his stall was, and it was an enclosed area, so if anything happened, he, wouldn't get hurt. And it went pretty well. I was worried that Owen was gonna get a little too playful with Oakley and start causing problems, but the first time I let them out together, Owen was like totally like kind of ignoring him, and I was honestly super happy with it. Oakley was a little bit nervous at first and running around and sniffing other horses, and then he kind of started to be like, okay, well this horse is just walking around slowly and eating off the ground, so I'm gonna do the same thing. So I was really proud of Owen for that and being a good influence, instead of, you know, going crazy and trying to play like he did with Oakley's half-brother, who he also was out with when he was younger. So the next couple of days, I just put them out in there together while I was able to watch and monitor them. And they started to really get comfortable with each other and bond, to where I felt comfortable starting to put them outside together. And the first time, it was really good. Oakley started to run around a little bit, and Owen was pretty good about just, okay, I'm just gonna go eat and be calm. So after Oakley ran around for a little bit, he calmed back down and he just settled down with Owen and they ate and it was perfect. So yeah, then ever since then, they've just been going outside together for half the day and it's been going really well. There was a day that it was snowy and I turned them out and they were both very crazy and hyper. It was pretty cute. Owen was very excited and it was Oakley's first snow and he didn't quite know that, oh, it might be a little slippery. I should probably be careful. So he was slipping around a little bit at first, but then he started to kind of understand like, oh, okay, can't be too wild, gotta watch my feet. Super well in my opinion, other than the one little incident of Oakley trying to jump the fence. Also, about the first probably week or two that Owen and Oakley were out together, Oakley definitely thought Owen was his new mom and tried to nurse on Owen, and Owen was a very good sport about it. It was pretty hilarious watching Oakley try to nurse on Owen, and he legit thought that Owen was his new mom. And I'm about 95% sure that Owen was like, okay, I'm your new mom. This is awesome. I love this. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Okay, you guys, real quickly, I want to let you guys know that this video is sponsored by My Horse World Club. I have been talking about My Horse World Club on my YouTube and Instagram for a little while now. Kind of obsessed with them. So if you guys don't know or haven't heard about them yet, My Horse World Club is an amazing community for all equine lovers all over the world of all types, all disciplines, everything. It's this great place for everybody to come together and have a good time. They have an Instagram page where they post lots of fun content, as well as a YouTube channel where they post all sorts of videos like vlogs and pretty much everything. I will link their links in the description below if you want to go check them out on Instagram. Again, it's My Horse World Club, and the same thing, their YouTube channel is My Horse World Club. So seriously, go check them out. You guys won't regret it. They post amazing pictures and their videos are super entertaining and fun. So seriously, if you're watching my channel, then you probably want to watch their channel too. So please go check them out, My Horse World Club, and yeah, let's get on with the video. But yeah, now Owen and Oakley are like BFFs. They are better than ever. They stick together like glue. They absolutely love each other. And a week ago, I decided it was time to turn them out in the big boy field and turn them out with other horses. So now they're going out in the big pasture with 3 or 4 other horses every day, and it's all going super well. And Oakley's learning how to socialize with other horses, but also be safe. I'm really glad with how well Oakley did with all of it. He was a superstar. He handled everything great. He's so grown up, it's not even funny. But yeah, next thing, in the next couple of weeks, he's going to get gelded, and then after that, they're moving to my house to live with me. So I'm super excited for the next steps that they're taking in their life, and I'm absolutely ecstatic with how well they're doing with each other and how well Oakley's doing with all the big changes he's been having to endure lately. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it wasn't as like crazy, or it was pretty anticlimactic, but I tried my best to make it to where everything wasn't crazy. I took everything super slow, and I tried to take baby steps and all of that to make sure that the least amount of stress as possible was put upon my horses. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's my little Oakley update. The next couple of videos will probably be like training vlogs with him, and maybe I'll make a video about him getting gelded. I don't know, let me know in the comments below what Oakley content you guys would like to see, and I'd be happy to do that. Also, if you guys don't know yet, I have released Oakley merchandise in my store. I will put the link in my description if you want to check it out, and I will link it up above. But on the front here, on the corner, it says Okie Dokie, which is Oakley's nickname, which I call him all the time, my little baby Okie Dokie. And it also has a super cute drawing on the back done by Hannah K Draws. She does amazing art. She also did Owen's Christmas merchandise, which is also for sale in my store if you want to check that out. So yeah, please go check those out if you guys want to. They're super cute, super comfortable. And yeah, I think that's it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all on my next video. Bye! You